Alrighty, our class is complete. Cheviot exhibitors and those of you here watching our show this afternoon, we want to introduce you to our judge. We welcomed him this morning. This is Jeff Rapasti from Lonsdale, Minnesota. Jeff is the owner of Northern Star Livestock Company. They run 450 head of South Down and market type ewes. Certainly nationally renowned, and Jeff is not only as a breeder but a top-notch judge as well. He's judged from coast to coast, state fairs down at Louisville. Jeff's quite a good livestock breeder and a good livestock person. So we're glad to have him back here today. This is the Cheviot breed. This is one of the real popular breeds, one of the bigger breeds that we have at our sheep show this weekend here at the Big E. So we'll sit back and watch our show progress.
yearling buck I'm going to start up here on the top with. I think you got to really appreciate this buck up through his front end. I like a breed type about him. I like his head. Both these top two bucks are really excellent headed. You can't tear them apart on that. The buck up front, he's just maybe a tick more stylish and extended up through his front end for me today. I like the way you get your hands on him. If I'd like to change him at all, I guess I would like to give him more spring to his rib. I'd like to give him more total mass and body and muscle and down low in his quarter. We got that in the second buck. The second buck, I'd sure like to just maybe extend him a little up through his front end. Are both these bucks getting big enough on the verge for the breed? Yeah, I think so. I sure wouldn't want to make him any larger. The second place buck, I'd just like to change him a little off them rear feet pastures as he goes around the ring. But boy, this is a stout buck. You get up over top of him, he's really bold sprung in his rib. Got a lot of natural thickness down his top. Like I said, the Challenger buck we win with, I wish he'd just a little bit better off of his rear pastures when you put him into motion. The buck here in third, a nice made buck, just not quite as structurally correct down his top line, out his hip as the two bucks in front of him. That stands him in third today. The buck we round out the class, just not near as much natural thickness and body and mass and muscling as we got in the bucks ahead of him.
Congratulations, exhibitors. We'll get to the weights figured out here and let you know in just a few minutes what those top three rams weighed. We have senior and junior champion classes here in the Cheviot breed, so we will be pulling back those two yearling rams here in a little while for our senior champion judging. Our next class will be 5 head of senior ram lambs. Here are the results of the yearling ram class here in our Cheviot show. This afternoon, first place honors went to Dusty Rinker of Rinker Land and Livestock in Stewardson, Illinois. Ring number 830 with Rinker's American Pharaoh. He's sired by Eaton's 1047 and weighed 269 pounds. The second place ram in the class was bred by John Eaton, Triple J Acres of Airville, Pennsylvania. Ring number 834 on Triple J 1531. He weighed 297 pounds. In third place, Kyle Harris from Ludlow, Massachusetts with ring number 831 on Wind Valley 1501. He was sired by Eaton's 1322 and weighed 260. Our fourth place ram in the class was bred and shown by Darcy Webster of Windham, Maine. Ring 833 on Webster's 15.5. He was sired by Coyle 1214. And for those of you that would like to follow in our book this afternoon, we're going to share the results, reading them back to you from the top of your program down. And it will go as follows: 3 with a weight of 260, 1 weighing 269, 4 and 2 with a weight of 297.
Fall buck here I'm going to start with. He's by far the most complete in the class. You get your hands on him, he's super straight down that top line. You like the extension that he puts together and his lines. He's really big out through that top and out through his hip. I think really nice in his breed type and about his ear set. Just an awful nice one to start with. The buck in second for me today, I'd like to change him a little off them front pastures versus the buck who win the class with another real large scaled, real big bodied kind of buck in his own right. Another buck that's real nice in his ear set. Like I said, I'd just like to change him off them front pastures to challenge the buck who win the class with. Then I come into third, a buck that's got some body to him. A little bigger bodied buck than we got in fourth. A buck I'd like to sure change him about his ear set to challenge the bucks that are ahead of him, but a buck that's really good on his feet and legs, standing on a fair bit amount of bone. the buck here in fourth just kind of runs out of steam compared to the three in front of him as far as body, amount of muscle, and he's carrying, and his bone work. He gets a little frailer than the bucks in front of him, but another buck that's real nice about his head and his ear set. Then we round out the class with a buck here in fifth. A buck that's just not quite as straight in these lines down his top line to challenge the bucks that are ahead of him.
Our class-winning senior Ram Lamb was bred by John Eaton, Triple J Acres, ring number 837 on Triple J 1547. The runner-up in that class was also from the Eatons, ring 836 on Triple J 45. The class winner weighed 213 and the runner-up 207. In third place, we had Darcy Webster from Wyndham, Maine, with Webster's 1517 out of the Coil Ram. Fourth place honors were won by Wind Valley Farm, ring number 835 with Eaton 1543. And rounding out the class, we had an entry from Kyle Harris with Harris Family Farm on Pinckney 572. And to read those down, it is 4-2 at the weight of 207, 1 at 213, 5 and 3. And the Kyle Harris Lamb, he'll come back for our champion ram lineup when we pick a junior show champion ram later on.
We're on the senior champion drive for the Cheviot buck. For me, today it gets really close, but for me, I'm going to stick with my yearling buck. He's going to be your senior champion buck. Granted, I'd sure like to give him a little more spring to that rib and add some more to him. I really like the fall buck. I wish he just maybe just a little more extended up through his front end, but he's going to be a reserve senior champion buck today.
Congratulations to Ranker Land and Livestock of Illinois and John Eaton from Airville, Pennsylvania with the reserve senior champion ram.
Buck I'm going to start with, he's by far the biggest bone buck we got in the class. Not only that, you get your hands on him, he doesn't disappoint you at all. He's good down his top line. He's got some mass and some natural correctness to that curvature to the rib and down into the lower part of his stifle. I just think an awful nice sheep to win this class. The buck in second, a little bit maybe a tick shorter sided than the buck that we win the class with. Maybe not quite as true down his top line when you get your hands on him. Hang on. This buck, when you get him into motion, he maybe gets a tick restricted for me versus the buck we win the class with. Then we round out the class. The buck next in line, really straight made kind of buck. I'd just like to change him a little on these front pasterns. I'd like to stouten him up a little on these bone work converses compared to the two that's right above him.
Here's the placings on our intermediate Ram Lamb class we just completed. First place honors went to Darcy Webster of Windham, Maine on ring 844. That was Webster 16-1 and sired by Coils 1214. Our class-winning ram weighed 138. Second place honors were won by Wind Valley Farm of Oakham, Massachusetts. Ring number 843 on Wind Valley 1514. And she was a daughter of Eaton's Triple J 45. The class runner-up weighed 137. And rounding out the class was Triple J Acres John Eaton, ring 840 with Triple J 6, and that lamb weighed 131. The Cheviot breed of sheep that we're now judging is one of the real popular breeds, not only in the New England area, but throughout the United States as well. They're a very lively, vigorous type of a sheep, moderate size. Their lambs gain quickly on grass and forages. They are good converters of haylage and whatnot into good red meat. So we're really proud of this breed of sheep. Again, they're very popular. They're known by their distinct all-white heads and jet black nose. Really a nice breed of sheep. Again, very popular here in the New England area and as throughout the United States.
There in the spring buck lamb. Buck lamb I'm going to start with. Super correct down his top. When you get your hands on him, you really like him at the point of his shoulder, the way his neck comes out. Stand on a really nice set of feet and legs when he gets around the ring. I think an awful nice winner for this class. The buck in second, maybe a tick longer bodied sheep, maybe a little more up fronted, a buck that doesn't tie near as good a point of his shoulder back into his rack area for me today to compete with the buck that we win the class. The buck here in third, another buck that maybe shortens up a little bit from flank to flank. I need to change these front pastures for me today to challenge the two that's above him to get around them. Then we come into a buck here next in line, a little longer bodied kind of buck, a buck that you really appreciate when you get your hands on him. I'd like to maybe just change him a little bit off them rear feet when he goes away from you for me today to get him any higher. Then we come into the buck here in fifth hole, probably the most sound and complete buck at the ground we got in the class. But a buck that just runs out of too much length of body for me and just not near enough of him today to compete with the four that's above him.
Here's the placings in our Junior Ram Lamb Class Group 1. Our first place honors went to John Eaton with Triple J Acres from Pennsylvania, ring number 851 on Triple J 15. He weighed 114. Our second place lamb was bred by Ron and Barb Yoakum of Townville, Pennsylvania, ring number 852 on Yoakum 1613. He weighed 116. In third place was John Eaton, ring number 842 with Triple J 16, and that lamb weighed 133. Our fourth place honors went to the Yoakums, ring number 850 with Yoakum 1605 out of Heatherwood, B37. Our fifth place Ram Lamb in class was shown by Isaac and Megan Gargis, Midnight Cheviots of Lutherville, Maryland. Ring number 848 was Gargis 107. In sixth place, we had Natalie Goodrich of Edgebrook Farm from Westmoreland, New Hampshire, with Rinkers 2191, and she was first in the junior show. So that lamb will come back when we pick our overall junior show champion ram. And our final entry in the class was exhibited by Linda Schoecker of Orion Acres from Plimpton, Massachusetts, ring number 849 on Orion Acres 1607. And in that class from top down on your score sheets were 5, 7, 6, 4, 1 at 114, 2 at 116, and 3 at 133.
buck I'm going to start with, he's by far probably the stoutest buck. As far as when you get your hands on him, the thickest down he's topping out over his line. He's in really short fleece, and I appreciate that about him. Standing on a big old foot and bone. I'd like to maybe just smooth him up in a little bit in the lower part of his shoulder for me today to really charge him forward. But I think he wins this class kind of fault free as far as when you get him into motion and whatnot. The buck in second, when you stand back and analyze him, you think the sheep's got an awful lot of maturity up through that front end of his neck. He's got a lot of wool on that backside of his neck that he could do without. That'd sure slim him up and make him a lot more fresher appearing. But when you get your hands on him, it's just not as near as much natural product as the buck we got that we start the class with. Another buck that's awful nice on his feet and legs and his pasterns. I really appreciate that about him. Then we come in the buck here in third. A buck that's a lot greener to the touch. A buck that's got a nice set of feet and legs underneath of him. He gets maybe not quite as straight down his top line as the two that stand right in front of him, but a buck that needs to stand kind of third for me today as far as his feet and legs go. Then we ran the buck here in fourth, another buck that kind of gets a little bit piecey right behind his shoulders for me today. A buck that maybe just doesn't not as quite as long from his 13th rib back as the bucks that we got ahead of him. Then we round out the class with a really fresh appearing buck, really youthful and young looking buck that's really straight and correct made. I like a lot of things about him. For me today, just not near enough of him, I guess, to get him any higher. Believe me, I tried.
All right, we'll get these lambs weighed, and then we're ready to start lining up your entries in the pair class. At this time, can bring in your ram lambs for the pairs. Our pair of Ram Lamb class winners. First went to Triple J Acres, second to Ronan Barbiokum, Darcy Webster in third, fourth went to Wind Valley, and Linda Schoecker in 5. And in that junior Ram Lamb class, we finished up. The first place honors went to Linda Schoecker with ring number 858 on Orion Acres 1632. Class winner weighed 143. In second was Faith Mayacher of Lee, New Hampshire. That ram weighed 125. And in third place was Darcy Webster, ring number 855, and he weighed 124. Fourth place was an entry from Blake Kessler of Indiana, and that lamb is first junior, and will come back out when we select our champion in the junior show. Fifth to Wind Valley, sixth place honors also to Darcy Webster. And reading those down from the top was 2 at 125, 3 at 124, 6 scratch, 1 at 143, 4 and 5.
Out for a junior champion Cheviot buck. I think there's two individuals that I really liked in class, and I think I'm going to stick with them. That I really think are the kind that I'm looking for today. The two bucks that come out of your February class will be your champion reserve junior champion buck.
All right, Triple J Acres, congratulations. And Ronan Barbiokum with the reserve junior champion Rams.
Like for your champion Cheviot buck, it's fairly easy for me today. The two senior bucks are going to be your champion reserve Grand Cheviot buck today.
Rinkerland and Livestock from Stewartson, Illinois with your grand champion ram. Triple J Acres with the reserve champion. And we're ready to bring in our entries in the junior show, and we'll help you kids out.
here for the the Cheviot Junior Show. For me today, I'm going to go down and I'm going to grab my last class of buck lambs. He'll be your champion buck today. And then we're going to come back up and we'll get your yearling buck. He'll be your reserve champion buck today.
The Webster family from Windham, Maine is the ones that have this added prize here for the best headed ram. In York Cheviot's Tony York in Shelburne, Massachusetts will be presenting one for the ewe here later on today. Jenna, the front table decided we should buy you the ice cream on that move. That was good. You're forgiven on that. You didn't get killed. Where's Eaton at? It's his sheep.
Yearling ewe I'm going to start with. In my mind, she's by far the ewe I like the most, and I'm going to start with, and I'm going to stick with her. Boy, when you get your hands on her, there's a lot of product in this sheep. Up over her top, she's really opened up and cracked open in that rib cage through the center part of her body. Big old loin ewe, big hip, got a lot of muscle working down in that low. And when you put her into motion, she's a ewe that gets around the ring, probably the freest and easiest for me today. I really like the head about this ewe. The ewe in second, the same kind of ewe as we lead off the class with, maybe just not quite as much of her natural product wise, but another ewe that's really pretty headed, really good on her feet and legs, really complete and sound when you put her into motion around the ring. I think this is an awful tough pair up here on top to start with. The ewe in third, kind of the outlaw of the group. Another ewe that's really extended up through her front end. You really like her when you get your hands on her. Nice on her feet and legs. A ewe that maybe just shortens up a little from her 13th rib back versus compared to the two we got above her. The problem sheep in the class for me is the ewe here in fourth. I really like this ewe on the profile. She's really extended up through her front end and real elegant fronted. My problem with this ewe is when you get your hands on her, not near as much natural product as the three that's above her, and I'd like to stouten her up a little on her bone work, and when you put her into motion, she wants to paddle off them front feet quite a bit for me today to get her above the three that's above her. Then we come in here next in class, a ewe that's a really stout ewe, a lot of natural product in this female too. For me today, she just gets a little coarser down the lower part of her shoulder, a little more brisket to her versus the ewes that are above her in class, but nice, really nice class Cheviot yearling ewes.
Here's the results in our Group 1 class of Yearling ewes. First place went to John Eaton, Triple J Acres, ring number 871 on Triple J 66, sired by Ahart 1. She weighed 197. Second in class was ring number 870 from Catherine Kuykendall of Richland Center, Wisconsin, on Kuykendall's 935. She weighed 175. In third was John Eaton, Triple J Acres, ring number 879 with Triple J 24. She weighed 186. Our fourth place yearling ewe in class was bred by Catherine Kuykendall, ring number 869 with Kuykendall 933 out of Kuykendall 732. And in fifth, Darcy Webster, ring number 872 with Webster's 1417. She was sired by their Coil 1214. And in sixth place, we have Natalie Goodrich of Edgebrook Farm, Westmoreland, New Hampshire, ring 880 on Eaton's Triple J 1530. And that you will be first in the junior show. In seventh place was Linda Schoecker of Orion Acres in Massachusetts. Eighth place, another ewe from Orion Acres, the ewe's twin sister. And ninth place went to Darcy Webster of Maine with ring 874, and Natalie Goodrich rounded out the class. And sharing the results from top down on the first page is one with the weight of 197, 510, and that ewe of Natalie's will come back. She was second in our junior classes, followed by 9, 4, 8, and 7. And then on the other page is 3 with the weight of 186, 6, and 2 at 175.
yearling ewe I'm going to start this second class with. Just a really structurally correct ewe. You get your hands on her, super straight down that top and out through her hip. Just really extended and pretty up through her front end. Really like the breed type about her. I think just an excellent female to start this class. The ewe in second, maybe just not quite as much spring to her rib as the ewe we start the class with. Another ewe that's really nice on her feet and legs, really straight down that top line. Just like I said, I'd like to just blow her apart in that rib cage some for me today to get around to you. We win the class. The little ewe here, I'll be granted, she's not near big enough for a lot of people, but boy, I pulled her off the side and then I pulled her back out, I got to analyzing her more. This ewe just super, super correct on her feet and legs. She's really good in her lines. Granted, yeah, she's not long enough sided. She's probably not tall enough for a lot of people, but I think for me today, just being structurally sound, correct on her feet and legs, she's got plenty of natural thickness and muscle, and she's in short fleece. She just stands in third for me today pretty handily. The ewe here in fourth, a long-bodied ewe, a ewe that gets a lot plainer up through her front end, deeper in her chest floor for me, shortens up quite a bit when you handle her. A ewe that needs to get off of her back wheels a lot better today when she goes around the ring for me to challenge the three that's above her. And then we get into the ewe here in fourth, kind of the same deal. Another ewe that's not quite as far along in her condition, probably as our fourth place ewe, but another ewe that gets a little plainer down through her bottom third of her chest floor. A ewe that doesn't get out and travel near as good as she needs to compete with the ones above her.
Okay, you can line up your pairs at this time. We'll weigh these first three while you line up your pairs of yearling ewes. Our Group 2 class of yearling ewes was won by Wind Valley Farm from Oakham, Massachusetts, with ring 884. That was Wind Valley 1506 out of the Ahart 1 Ram and had a weight of 177. Our second place ewe was exhibited by Blake Kessler of LaPorte, Indiana. Ring number 868 with Grace Murphy 511. Sired by Spildy 3431. She weighed 165. And was first place in the junior show. The third place yearling ewe in class was an entry from Isaac and Megan Gargas, ring number 886 with Gargas 105 and weighed 140. Ron and Barb Yoakum placed fourth with ring number 887 on Yoakum's 1534 with a daughter of Low Key 51, and our fifth place yearling ewe was from the Wind Valley Farm Ranch of Oakham, Mass, ring 883, and she also was out of Ahart 1. The sixth place yearling ewe from Darcy Webster on ring 888, and in seventh place was Ron and Barb Yoakum of Pennsylvania. Eighth place honors to Blake Kessler, ring 867 with Moore 978, and that ewe was second in the junior show. Our 9th place yearling ewe was an entry from Kyle Harris, and her twin sister was 4th in that, or was 10th in that class, and those were 3rd and 4th place juniors. And again, reading down, it will be 9, 10, 5, 1 weighing 177, 7, 2 at 165, and 8. And the next page is 3 at 140, 4 and 6.
fall ewe lamb I'm going to start with. For me today, she's just a lot more extended, a lot more elegant up through her front end. I really like the way she gets around the ring and the breed type about her. For me, I just think she's kind of the total package for this class. Ewe lamb in second. I like the amount of bone that this ewe carries. She's maybe a little stouter featured in the bone work than the ewe we win the class with. You got to appreciate the head on this ewe lamb too. For me today, she just doesn't tie quite as nice coming out of her shoulder back into her rack region as the ewe lamb we win the class with. If we can change that about her, we'd probably challenge the ewe lamb we win the class a little harder with. Ewe lamb here in third. This one has not had a problem eating. I'd like to sure enough trim her up a little bit in her body condition for me today to get her around the ones and above her. If we can do that to her, we can probably move her on up the line a little. Then we can round out the class with the ewe lamb here in fourth. The ewe lamb just ain't got quite as much volume and natural thickness to her, capacity to her center part of her body as the ones that stand above her.
Our fall ewe lamb class was won by John Eaton, ring number 899, and the class winner weighed 152. And second right straight to the east of her is an entry from 4-Star Farm of Shapley, Maine, ring 902 on 4-Star 28 and out of Spildy 3571. That lamb weighed 150. Our third place lamb from John Eaton, ring number 900 on Triple J 1544, weighed 156. And our fourth place fall ewe lamb was 4-Star Farm, Shapley, Maine, ring 901. And from the top down, those will be 1 at 152, 3 weighing 156, 4, 2 at 150. Our Group 1 yearly new class winner is from the Trostles. Catherine Kuykendall from Wisconsin had the second place ewe in that class. Our first place ewe in Group 2 was from Wind Valley, and the runner-up was Blake Kessler. And again, our fall ewe lamb class winner went to Triple J, with 4-Star Farm, the second place winner.
for your senior champion, Cheviot. In my mind, it's really easy. There's a pair of yearling ewes I like a bunch. I contemplated them in class. I thought they were an awful nice pair, and I'm going to stick with them. There'll be a pair of yearling ewes that come out of that first class. They'll be your senior champion reserve.
Senior champion to John Eaton and reserve senior champion to Catherine Kuykendall.
Yearling wins this class. I think just awful neat. Boy, you sure like her when you get off to the side and looking at her from where I'm at now. Really extended up through her front end and real shallow in her chest and far as the way her shoulder lays in. Really pretty headed about this female. Is she the biggest bow one in the class? Probably not, but I think she's more than adequate for me today. When you get her around the ring and move, she just gets out and really travels free and easy. Super straight down that top. Her shoulder ties really nice into that rack. She got plenty of turn to her rib. I think this is a nice one to win this class off easily with. The ewe in second. Maybe a touch more bone in this ewe. A ewe that when you get your hands on her, she doesn't tie quite as well coming out of her shoulder into her rack area for me today compared to the ewe we win the class with. A ewe, it's percents out awfully nice for me. I'd like to sure just change her a little bit, like I said, right in that rack area out of her shoulder. If we can do that, we probably push the one that we win the class with a little harder. Ewe lamb here next in class, just a really solid ewe lamb, real complete and balanced up when you stand off from the side and view her. A ewe lamb that probably just needs to be a touch longer bodied for me to compare to the two that's in front of her. A little longer from her 13th rib back to compete with the two that's in front of her. Then the ewe lamb here in fourth, we got it coming around. A ewe lamb that's really nice in her own right, really good on her feet and legs. I like that about her. A ewe lamb that shortens up a fair bit from flank to flank for me. I'd like to sure change her hair coat around her eyes and on her ears a little bit for me to get her any higher in class. Then we get the ewe lamb here next in class. Same kind of deal. A ewe lamb that gets a little plainer in the lower shoulder, a little more stouter or a little thicker down through that lower part of her shoulder when you view her from the front. A ewe lamb that's not as quite as long from her 13th rib back as we got ahead of her. A ewe lamb, we just like to sure change her there a little bit to make her compete any higher today. But a nice class of ewe lambs.
Here are the results of our intermediate ULAM class. First place went to John Eaton from Triple J Acres in Airville, Pennsylvania. Was ring 906 right at the top of the page, and she weighed 137. Second place in the class was exhibited by Natalie Goodrich, Edgebrook Farm from Westmoreland, New Hampshire. Ring 904 with Rinkers 2180 AI. Out of Rinker 2088, she weighed 133 and was also first place junior. Linda Schowecker from Orion Acres in Plimpton, Massachusetts. Ring on number 905 was third, and she weighed 120 with Rinker 2178. In fourth place was John Eaton, ring number 908 on Triple J 1610. Followed in fifth place by ring 914, which was Ron and Barb Yoakum of Pennsylvania, with Yoakum 1604 out of Heatherwood B37. Our sixth placed intermediate ULAM was shown by Wind Valley Farm with Wind Valley 1512, and in seventh was Faith Mayacher of Lee, New Hampshire. Eighth place honors went to the Kyle Harris flock with Pinckney 591, and our ninth place intermediate ULAM was shown by Wind Valley on ring 912. In 10th place was Ron and Barb Yoakum, followed in 11th by Kyle Harris, and 12th to Anna Charest, Small Fry Farm. In sharing those results from top down, we have one at 137, two at 133 and first junior. The third one down was third at 120, then 10, 4, 8, and 11. And that 8th place ewe was the second place junior, and the 11th place ewe was the third place junior. And on the next page, they were 6, 9, 5, 12, and 7.
ewe lamb I'm going to start with. You get your hands on her. You really like this ewe lamb. She's in really short fleece. She's really big down that top and out through her hip area. Just got a lot of natural product in this ewe lamb. When you get her into motion, she don't disappoint you at all either. But I'd like to maybe change her hair coat just a little bit on her, personal preference. But then come into the ewe lamb in second. The ewe lamb looks to be a little bolder in her rib design. When you get your hands on her, there's just not quite as much natural thickness and product there in that ewe lamb as we got in the first place ewe lamb. But a ewe lamb, when you put her into motion, she tracks around the ring really free and easy. I like that about her. The ewe lamb in third here. Another ewe lamb, when you get your hands on her, she opens up a little bit more right behind her shoulders, and I'd like right at top of her shoulders, and I'd care for. And the ewe lamb, when you get to analyze her, when you put her into motion, maybe just doesn't track quite as well as the two that's in front of her to get around them. Then come in the next in line, a ewe lamb just gets a little bit bolder down through the lower part of her front shoulder. A ewe lamb, maybe when you get to analyzing her, you'd like to change her hair coat about her head just a little bit, I would. And then the ewe lamb, when we round out the class, a ewe lamb, real long-bodied ewe lamb, I like that about her. When you get to start getting up over top of her and handling her, she just doesn't tie as nice as the ones in front of her right behind her shoulder to get any higher in class today.
John, is this child labor? You wore the other one out? Our Group 1 class of ewe lambs was won by John Eaton and Melissa Trostel. Ring number 928 with Triple J 1617. She weighed 111 pounds. The second place ewe lamb in the class was from the Darcy Webster flock of Windham, Maine. Ring 930 on Webster 16-9, and she weighed 120. Third place honors to Natalie Goodrich of Edgebrook Farm with Rinker 2190. She weighed 110, and that lamb was first junior. We'll see her after a while. Our fourth place ewe lamb was exhibited by Faith Mayacher with Mayacher 1621 out of Low Key 52. In fifth place was Linda Schoecker. Ring number 931 with the Ryan Acres 1616. And our sixth place ewe lamb was an entry from Anna Charest Small Fry Farm Continued with Small Fry 54. And our final ewe lamb was an entry from Harris Family Farm of Ludlow, Massachusetts. I was asked, we'll read these down, the placings. It is 4-3 with a lamb that weighed 110, 6-1, weighing 111, 7-2 at 120, and 5.
ewe lamb I'm going to start with, I think she excels the class as far as length of body. The ewe lamb, when you get her out and move, she moves around the ring really free and easy. Both these top two do. I really like the way they both travel. For me today, the ewe lamb I'm going to start with, I think you get your hands on her. They're just more natural product, working down her top and out through that lower part of her leg and over her loin. The ewe lamb in second, for me today, just maybe not quite as much natural product to her for me to get around the ewe. We win the class. And I like the hair coat probably a little better on the second place ewe than I do on the ewe that I win the class. I just don't think there's enough natural product to her to get around the ewe lamb we're going to win the class. Ewe lamb here in third. A little bit of a problem ewe lamb for me. I like a lot of things about her. When you get her on the move, and I think she maybe gets a little deeper in her front third when you put her into motion. I'd like to sure change her at the point of her shoulder a little bit when you handle her for me today to get around a two that's above her. But ewe lamb, you got to really appreciate as far as her length from flank to flank, and when you get her into motion, another ewe lamb that really gets around the ring free and easy. Ewe lamb here in third, maybe gets just for me today, she gets a little round off both ends, maybe a little rounder in the lower part of her shoulder for me. Get rounds off that hip more than I'd care to get her any higher today. Come into a real pretty profile ewe lamb here next in line. Ewe lamb, I'd sure just like to change the way she travels off them back wheels for me today to get her up any higher in class. Nice class of late-born Cheviot ewe lambs.
Pair of ewe lambs will be next. Our Group 2 Junior ewe lamb class was won by John Eaton with ring 937 on Triple J 1628, and she weighed 96 pounds. The second place ewe lamb in the class was bred by Darcy Webster of Maine. Ring number 933 on Webster 1612, and she weighed 103. The third place lamb was exhibited by Blake Kessler of LaPorte, Indiana, with Grace Murphy 604. Sired by Spildy 3431, she weighed 112. And in fourth place was Linda Schowacker of Orion Acres with Orion Acres 1631. In fifth, we had Ron and Barb Yoakum of Townville, Pennsylvania, with him Yoakum 1626. And our sixth place lamb was from the Four Star Farm in Shapley, Maine. Seventh place honors were won by Wind Valley Farm of Oakham, Massachusetts. And our final ewe lamb was exhibited by Blake Kessler of Indiana with Murphy 608. And in that class from the top down, is 2 with weighing a 103, 6, 5, 3 at 112, 4, 8, and 1 weighing 96, and 7th place is on the next page. Our pair of year lamb class winner went to John Eaton from Pennsylvania. Second place was a pair from Darcy Webster in Maine. Natalie Goodrich of Westmoreland, New Hampshire was third, and in fourth place was Ronan Barbiokum from Pennsylvania. Our fifth place ewe lamb was exhibited by Wind Valley Farm. Sixth place honors went to Linda Schowacker. The seventh place pair were from the Four Star Farm in Maine, and in eighth we had Blake Kessler of Indiana. Ninth place was Faith Mayacher, 10th to Anna Charest, and 11 was a pair from Kyle Harris. And sharing those results from the top of the page down, it's 10, 8, 1, 3, 11, 5, and 9. And our next page, our pair of ewe lambs were 6, 2, 7, and 4. In our class for junior champion ewe, we had the first place intermediate from John Eaton, Natalie Goodrich with the runner-up in that class. John Eaton with the first place Group 1 junior ewe lamb. And Darcy Webster has the second place lamb. John Eaton in first here in the late lamb class, assisted by Grant Sullivan, and Darcy Webster the runner-up.
I think out here for my junior champion ewe, there's one ewe lamb that just kind of runs away from him fairly easy in my mind. And she's a kind of a no-brainer type female. That's going to be your ewe lamb out of the January or the early ewe lamb class. She wins this deal fairly easy. It's kind of a one-dog race. Then it gets a lot closer for me. Coming back to the last class of ewe lambs, or following up with my second place in that early ewe lamb class. For me today, I guess I like my second place ewe lambs. Her head, her hair coat a little better on her head. She's going to be a reserve junior champion ewe.
Congratulations to Triple J and Lori Goodrich, Natalie Goodrich. Our senior champion ewe out here is from Triple J Acres, and Catherine Kuykendall with the reserve senior champion. And here in our junior champion class again, we have Triple J with the ewe lamb, the January lamb, and Natalie Goodrich with the runner-up.
Well, I think it's fairly easy for me today. I really like, depends on what you want to put your emphasis on. Personally, myself, I like sheep that can get around or get out and move and are structurally sound and correct, which I think all four of these are. I like sheep that got quite a bit of muscle to them, and I think that's what the Cheviot breed was meant to be, a breed of sheep that did good on grass and forage and produced a lot of product. And for me today, I think them Yearling ewes fit the bill that way. For me, they just when you get up over top these two females, they are really amazing how big back they are, and extremely wide they are across their loins and out to their hip. I just think that's an awful nice set of Yearling ewes. Your senior champions represent the Cheviot breed. They'll be your champion reserve ewe overall.
Congratulations to John Eaton and Catherine Kuykendall on your winning ewes. Now, Cheviot breeders, every one of you can bring out a ewe. Our junior show. That's right. We're going to get them juniors in here in a little bit. We need to pick our junior show champion ewe at this time, please. We need all the first and second place junior show ewes. And we'll let you know who they are. Our first place yearling ewe in the Group 1 category was from Natalie Goodrich, and second was also from Natalie Goodrich. The Group 2 yearling ewe class, first was and second, were both from Blake Kessler. There were no ewe lambs from the fall class. Our intermediate Group 1 was from Natalie Goodrich, and the runner-up, an entry from Kyle Harris. Our first place junior ewe lamb, Group 1, was Natalie Goodrich. Second place was from Kyle Harris. And our Group 2 junior ewe lamb winner was Blake Kessler. And Blake had both of them.
Out here for champion ewe in your junior show. For me, it's going to be pretty easy. We're going to use this ewe lamb that was reserved junior ewe lamb in the open show. She'll be your champion ewe in the junior show. And then it gets a little harder, a little more challenging on the yearling ewe side. I like this yearling ewe out of class 2. She'll be your reserve champion ewe in the junior show.
The winner of this class is going to receive a nice added award, this beautiful platter up here that's being presented by York Cheviots from Shelburne, Vermont. Massachusetts, we moved the town. Our best headed Cheviot goes to Small Fry Continued. Congratulations, Anna Marie Charest. Our exhibitors' flock placings are first to John Eaton, second to Wind Valley Farm. Third place was a group from Ron and Barb Yoakum, and in fourth place, Darcy Webster. Our fifth place honors went to Natalie Goodrich, and in sixth place was Linda Schowacker, seventh to Blake Kessler, and eighth to Kyle Harris. And reading those from top down, we have 7, 1, 5, 8, 2, 6, and 4, and on the next page is 3. Next will be our breeders' flock, and those of you that need to make changes, let us know. Joe Barnard, you okay over here? We flew her in and she trips and breaks her neck. In our breeders' flock, first went to Triple J Acre, second to Wind Valley Farm, third to Ron and Barb Yoakum, in fourth place Darcy Webster, and in fifth place Linda Schowacker. Our Get of Sire class was won by John Eaton from Pennsylvania. Second place went to the Darcy Webster flock of Maine. In third, we had Blake Kessler. And fourth place in the Get of Sire was a group from Linda Schoecker. We'd like to get the pictures of your champions and reserves while they're fresh and out here at this time. And we need a John Eaton representative, somebody from the Triple J John Eaton flock up here to the announcer's table. Jenna Sullivan, on behalf of the Eastern States Exposition, we're pleased to present to you both the Premier Exhibitor and Premier Breeder Award. Let's give the Triple J folks a nice round of applause on a job well done.